Hi, this is Hi Bob Poor Bob, and we're about to play some Ultimate General Civil War.
Welcome back. Let's get started on part 3. I do most of the things that I want to do here, but just a little bit short on getting to some of the places that I want to be in the time frame that I want to. And that one unit is way back there. He should have been moving a long time ago. That was bad. So we're just moving all of our units forward. We want the Cav and all of them to get over to the other side because that's what you want with Cav. You want them to be in the position that gives you the most support, gives you the most opportunities at least. We don't get an opportunity really, but we want to be there if the opportunity arises. So we go ahead and move him manually so that he doesn't move through the whole entire forest there, because that would take him forever to get out of that forest. So now we do make a couple mistakes here. It's really hard fighting these guys in this forest because they have a tendency to just disappear and reappear suddenly. And there is nothing you can do to get good vision on them except take that vision point at the top. Well, to take that vision point at the top, you have to have already basically defeated them already, so it doesn't really work. But there are units in there that you just cannot see whatsoever. So here's where all their units spawn. They spawn back here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 big infantry units. So we can't stop them from moving where they want to go because we have nobody in the right place right now. But what we can do is stop them from getting to the place that they want to be very easily, or even at all, by just shooting them on the way there, or shooting them once they get there, or just overall being a nuisance. And that's what we're going to do. We are going to be an absolute pain in the neck for these guys. We do underestimate them a little bit. I should have had more units continue going north. I turned some aside because I figured that I can go ahead and get this surround here, which does end up happening. And this is one of those times whenever we make a mistake and 3 units on top of each other get to shoot at me. And I'm just like, what? Not cool. 3 units all at once. That's not good. And we should have fallen back at that point further. We are still too close. We are going to get burned again because that's the way it is with this forest. One of those units is going to start walking to the side because they're stacked on top of each other. It's going to start firing at my unit in the complete open, and it's going to be in cover. And we're just going to get wrecked. That's just the way it is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, there's nothing that's going to save that unit at that point. I do wish my cav had been a little bit further behind and maybe allowed my skirmishers to take this hit. If my skirmishers had taken this hit, everything would have been like perfect. Not everything, but that little bit would have been perfect. Go ahead and get them actually moving all the way to the flag there. I really should have manually moved at least one of those guys that's like in the forest to move around the forest. That would have been better. And even the one there, I could have moved out the forest on this side. The other one I could move out the forest on the other side. I didn't really think that through well enough. And I'm like, oh, everything's looking pretty good. Ooh, took a hit. Okay, so that's most of my cav casualties in just one hit of artillery. And I could have had 2 units of skirmishers out there from these 2 units. If I had moved them further north to begin with, I held off moving them to the north longer than I should have. What's really amazing is just how much these cavalry love being in melee. See, there's the other half. Well, the like 25 more casualties there. So we take out that unit even after taking over 100 losses, and we have like 92 morale. Like, my unit's like, so we've gotten so many kills, we don't even care. So they completely wreck 2 units of artillery solo, back to back, basically just melting them almost instantaneously for each. Here's another place where I don't know how to play this. How do you stop them from getting into their fortifications? Once they've been knocked out a couple, see there, there's where I took these hits. I'm betting that's like most of that 200 casualties is probably just from that. So now my cav are going to sit in that corner for the rest of the game, basically, because they aren't needed. They were just there to rush that down and to do some shenanigans in the first area, but they never really did the shenanigans in the first area. So, like, at least a couple of these units probably should have been used to do something different. Like, go more north, like that Ind 3 there, or whichever one that is, should have gone to the north. Right now I'm thinking, man, I've got units here, we've got them all lined up, we're going to do really good. We're going to be able to knock that guy out of the fortification. Like, I've got 6 units that are going to fire at that guy. He's just going to run right off the bat, right? Well, kind of. And that's kind of how the rest of this day goes. It's kind of okay. It's not crazy okay, but it's kind of okay. So now we start having everybody run because, yeah, we are late. I'm like, man, can I get around them and actually get them bottled up in here? I'll give you an answer. No. I cannot get them bottled up. They are going to escape. There is just nothing I can do about it at this point. And I'm just like, man, I'm really feeling the runaway bug right now. I'm like, man, I really want to run away. I want to just collapse this entire line back and just run, because I have a feeling this is going to be bad. And it isn't nearly as bad as what I thought it was going to be. I don't know how many losses I take, but it's not nearly as bad as what I thought it was going to be. For one thing, the enemy units are stupid. Just plain stupid. So do something cool here, and I go ahead and get one of those units to overlap in the center there, and I think that really helps right there. I don't know how much good he does. So do they start charging my back or something? I don't know what all happened there, but that was kind of lucky. I did not realize that they would move down off that hill at me. I thought they would stay up there. So, however that worked, it worked out in my favor. So, yeah. So we do take some hits here. But the catch is that we're going to really dish out some damage too. So we pull back a little bit so that we don't trigger them too soon, hopefully. And this guy gets a great shot right on the flank of this guy right before he gets into the fortification. So if he was actually in the fortification, we wouldn't have gotten the count for that, for the flanking shots. But since he was not quite in the fortification, we get the count, and that is amazing. So we take a few hits from an artillery, and we get a wounded officer. Just like, whatever. It'll be fine. We're trying to keep, some units facing the other direction so that we don't have that happen again where they run down. And I was already going to have men there. It just ended up that was the way it was. So I'm starting to realize that there is nothing we're going to be able to do to not take casualties trying to scoop up these guys down in the south. But I'm like, I think I could do a pretty good job of scooping those guys up in the north if we just really kind of bracket them in and do a good job of that. These guys down here, man, this area is just always so annoying to take. It is such good cover, and it is such a high hill, and there's no cover around it except from one direction, and it's just not enough cover. No matter what you do, you just always are going to take casualties there. Take them. So I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want to set up my men here. I'm like, okay, I get these guys around here, get some shots on the side of that, and I decide to not go quite so far around the flag, which I think works out pretty good. See, this is that one unit that I could have probably pulled that direction to begin with, and it probably would have been better if I just pulled it to begin with, but I didn't, and now I kind of regret it a little bit, you know? Like, I'm like, I should have had one more unit up here, like, sooner rather than later, and it would have helped. I could have gotten around the edge even. Like, if I'd had one more unit to come all the way around the edge, maybe I could have done it. You know, if my units had been a little bit further to the north to begin with, they would have been more likely to been able to get there before they did. And we still have to run, and we just basically don't make it in time. And here we are firing once again back and forth with this guy, I think. Aren't we? No, we're not. Okay, good. I was like, we're firing back and forth with that guy. That's dumb. We are going to get this guy shattered. That's probably the unit from earlier that got away to the north. Wouldn't surprise me. But for the most part, we're going to get all these captured. We are going to get several shots on that guy before he has a chance to get off even one volley, I think. I don't remember how many shots we get on him. Feels like a bunch. Oh, he never even takes a shot. So yeah, that works out in our favor. So now we're moving out our snipers, and we're going to just start picking away at this guy. Go ahead and move forward. We take out another general. We need to be looking at the guys in the north and east, and getting those guys across the bridge. But I think they're just sitting there basically at this point. Just kind of chilling. So we need to get units to cover this gap, because I'm like, that guy's going to route right into all my artillery, and I'm going to cry. And this perfect run is going to be ruined by this. I just know it. So now I'm like, okay, we need to start in on really working them down now. That's the goal. Get moved in from sides that they're not facing. Try to keep them from forming up ever. As they turn, move other guys in. Keep them from ever having a chance to get shots off, except that one little bit up there. We are trading shots in the woods, which is not the best move, but it's the one place that I actually have units in the woods. So I'm like, they can hold for a bit while I actually work on all the rest of the surround. Like, if I try to, I can't get units in there to get flanking shots as easily as I can get flanking shots other places. So I really need to concentrate on getting the things done that I can get done, instead of focusing on the fact that maybe I could back off. But if I back off, they're just gonna, my guys are gonna be in the open again, and it works out to the best for us. So no complaints. Still, those guys in the north and east are just sitting there, chilling around, not doing anything. We should really get them moving. So I think we knocked the unit out of that fortification that was a problem once, and I think a different unit got into it. I can't remember though. But whenever that next unit gets into it, we start having problems too. I should have been more... I didn't realize how bad it was. But whenever it fires at a unit that's in cover, it's fine. Like, it doesn't gain all that much morale from shooting me. and it loses very little morale, but it's enough to go ahead and get it wiped out in the end. But if I'm like, ooh, look, all their things are there. That'd be kind of cool to capture. So it's sitting there, and it's just barely firing, right? Like, barely firing at my unit that's in the open. And I'm like, it'll be okay, right? Like, it'll work out. Like, we've already got it barely firing. It switched fire from one of the units that was in cover to that unit. And I'm just like, it'll be fine, right? Like, it's no big deal. Yeah. I let it go way too long like that. I thought that we would do better damage than we did. I was wrong. I thought that everything would be fine. I was kind of wrong. It takes like 250 casualties, and I should have done better about that. So now we're getting our force together to go surround the northern quadrant, and we still have not really moved our units in the north and east. I need to do better on microing them right now. These guys are just fine the way they are. Like, we could just charge them right now and probably be done with it. Pretty sure we could. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure that we could. Just don't shoot any of the supply wagons, please. And that's the thought in my head at this moment. Supply wagons, come on, don't shoot the supply wagon. I think we shoot the supply wagon a little bit, but not too much. I can't remember. So we do have a couple shatters. Looks like, I think that was that 500 that shattered, which is fine. No big deal. And then we charge the supply wagon. That way, they'll go through the other units, and then only at the very end will we actually get the, I'm like, oh, great. One of those units is just going to randomly run out of there, and it's going to be fine. That's going to be super annoying. So they are still, now they're actually firing regular. So we have gone from everything was just fine to now everything is not just fine, because they are firing rapid fire at my unit that's not in cover, and there's a house right there. I can move them into the house, if nothing else. Just a little bit into that house. And instead, I go off and I do this. Brilliant move. I don't even have these guys moved up far enough to actually get the shot on their side whenever they turn around. It's like I didn't even plan for this at all. And then we get rear flanked by a guy that's like halfway across the map, which is great. Just great. So now, the good news is that we are going to do all kinds of funny things, because they're going to keep turning around and doing stupid stuff, because, yeah, that's what happens whenever you mess with their logic like that. So I'm going to tell units to start moving that way, finally, which is the way it should be. But somehow, I have forgotten that there is a unit in the woods right along the river just waiting to ambush me. Somehow, it disappears from view for like 2 seconds, and suddenly I completely forget that it even exists, because I'm a genius. So now I start looking at all the stats on all these guys to see what the stamina is on their skirmishers, because if it's under 100, it means that we can run them and gain stamina. Because if it's under 100, we can't. I mean, if it's 100, we can't gain it anymore, because the skirmisher doesn't count the perk. So that's how you can tell. We want to keep them running, because for some reason it seems like if you just run, you just gain faster. Like, because you move more distance. Like, even walking at 100% stamina is slower than running with 0 stamina, as far as I can tell. It seems to be that. So what we're doing is we're pulling back any infields and any 1855s that we have on the line, and replacing them with Harper's Ferries, because the Harper's Ferries are the better units with 100% stamina already. So they might as well be the ones to do that, to hold the line while we move in with the other guys. So I'm trying to get vision on the artillery unit. There's one artillery unit left. Just like, I really want to get that thing wiped out. And so I go ahead and move these guys up here, even though I've already told my other guys to walk circles in that area, which I probably should have just told my guys not to walk circles in that area. Should have told them to walk somewhere else, seeing as, you know, should have kind of thought about that ahead of time. So I'm like, okay, I can't pull back. So they were in like no cover, and they took several hundred casualties that they shouldn't have. Probably. I don't know exactly how many it is that they started out with, but I'm pretty sure they started out with like 2,500 men, and they ended up 250 short of that. So I'm really, really mad at myself. I really fell short there. All these guys are moving up, and I have still forgotten that I have a unit moving into an ambush. And I'm about to get hit really hard, and it's going to be bad. I'm going to be mad again, because it happens all the time. It never fails. The unit's just going to turn around, and he's going to smack me, and I'm just going to be like, what just happened? I'm going to catch it like right in the middle of it too, which is kind of funny, but too late to do anything. Because yeah, I'm looking at it, kind of. I'm over here at least, sort of. I think I move on, do something else for a bit. So I have that one unit. Some of those units, whenever they spread out, they'll be too spread. Whenever they're condensed, he can't shoot them. But whenever they spread out, he's going to get shots on them from across the river. So I'm moving back here just to get a little bit better cover, because the cover there is atrocious out in front of it. I really should have paid more attention getting those units into position, how bad the cover was there. Even with the general, it was only like 70%, I think, which is really not very good. Should have been more careful there. Getting these guys spread out. Sorry. But there's still a lot of fighting going on, so I don't want to pause the video and come back whenever there's still a bunch of fighting, because I will forget to restart the video. It's better to just get it done and not have to worry about that kind of thing. We are just completely running through them here, so we do finally get above the low morale, and here we go. Really? It didn't happen yet? I swear it should have happened right there. Because that guy spread out. The other guy's probably turning around to go face him. And then I'm going to get wrecked. I'm going to be so disappointed in myself. So disappointed in myself. So then I'm moving all the artillery to like sit in a smaller area so that they can walk circles around them without it being in the way. And have they fired yet? They're going to fire pretty soon here, I think. There he is. He pops in, and my units start walking that way. Oh, it's because they're on top of each other. And I'm like, okay, maybe if we tell them to run? Maybe? Nope. Can't get away. And come on, move far enough away so you actually shrink back up. Okay, there we go. Now we're good. So now we actually have eyes on their artillery, and I'm like, ooh. Oh, that unit out in front is gone. So that means I can go get their artillery, right? Like, all I gotta do is just move those guys around there, and I can do that, right? Well, might help if I paid a little bit more attention to my units and, like, moved them appropriately, because I really don't pay attention to my units here. And I completely forget about him for the third time. The good news is that I do have a unit still on that side of the river. And he is just ready to march up to this guy's side and just melt his face a little bit because, you know, he already got his face melted. It's time for payback. So there we go. Let's see some face melting. Finally do some face melting. So they have to move a little bit. That's fine. They'll do whatever they have to do. We got to get that artillery unit off the field. That's the number one goal right now. Well, that and a bunch of walking, obviously. Walking is probably the number one goal, actually. We can take a few casualties, that's fine. But if we don't gain 100 stamina on every single unit this battle, I consider it to be a failure. We have failed in our mission. Don't worry, we don't fail. We definitely succeed. Every single unit, 100 stamina by the end of the battle, guaranteed, or your money back. Not that you paid any money, but if you had, I'd guarantee it for you. So we've got, I think, 4 units of artillery up in this corner. And, 4 units of infantry up in this corner. And 2 supply wagons. We are moving forward with an infantry unit, which we shouldn't be doing. Because our skirmishers have been shot off, basically. And once again, we don't pay attention to positioning. Because evidently, I can't learn my lessons about that corner today. I don't know why I can't seem to learn my lessons about that corner today, but evidently I have lost my ever-loving mind whenever it comes to that corner. I seem to think that whatever I do is just fine. No, that's not how that works. You have to tell people to hold position or bad things happen. Period. That is just the way that these things work. They walk off of each other, and suddenly you find yourself in a terrible position. And it's nobody's fault but your own. It's nobody else's fault. You can't blame anybody else. You're the one who moved wrong. Yeah. So we are absolutely, you just look at the numbers here. They have 4 units. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 units. And they have 4 combat units and 2 supply wagons. This is really not a fair fight. Oh, and I also, break off skirmishers and do that too. So not only do I have 3 times as many combat units as them, each one of those combat units also breaks into a second combat unit. So, yeah, we outnumber them a little bit here. We do take a shot here that we probably shouldn't have taken a shot. I really think that I could have played that a little bit better. But that's pretty much the only casualties we take the whole time until we get into melee. So, overall, I consider it to be a pretty big success. Just because, that kind of thing happens. Remember, as you start shrinking your noose, start thinking about what places they're likely to break out from. They're not likely to break back towards the river because at this point the river would be death. They're likely to break towards the corner. So I do send a unit to back up over there, and we make a mistake here. We move too far forward. Again, I think. Yep. When we shouldn't have. We don't take but maybe 1 shot, 1 casualty, 2 casualties. So really, it's not that bad. But we need to go make circles again. Because, circles. They're not just for little kids. They're for adults too. So we start getting pretty close on some of these units to 100 pretty soon here. But having to break off skirmishers just to check is kind of annoying, I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit annoying. It's not as bad as it could be, I guess, but just between you and me, it's a little tedious. Don't tell anybody I told you. So yeah, I finally seem to have gotten my act together over there. Not because I actually got my act together, but because I got lucky. And the unit that isn't on hold didn't go stupid and start walking around in circles. And we did get lucky that they finally finished off the artillery unit there. Our artillery finally finished off the artillery unit there, which is good. And now we're telling them not to fire, to move in from that direction, because they're obviously wanting to go towards the outer side. I mean, it's just the way that always is. So now we just kind of keep moving everybody towards there. And we also want to make sure and get our skirmishers back out. I mean, get our skirmishers away, because skirmishers do not handle well in melee. Like, I don't care if you get 2-on-1 with them. Like, they are not worth having out, in my opinion, at all. So I don't ever have them out if I can help it. So we captured the supply wagons. We need to get those turned off. The other one's over there. There you go. Good job. Way to get there. Now I realize that I didn't actually finish off bringing my unit over there to support like I was supposed to. So now he's out of position and can't get to where he needs to go. Great job. And also, the supply wagon moves super slow and seems like he should have gotten recaptured there. But it's whatever. That guy's definitely running, so it should be fine. So now we need to make sure and keep everybody from firing at our own guys, because we don't need to lose any more men doing this than we have to, because that would just be stupid. Like, even losing one more man to that than we have to is just not worth it. So we check on him. He's at like 98, I think. This guy's at 98 without breaking off skirmishers, so he's got a ways to go. These guys are still... That guy's pretty close. I think he's like 78 is what I remember, but I don't remember exactly what number he was. So I go ahead and send him on over there to be like the area where the guys that are almost done go, so that I don't have to keep checking them, or so that I do check them more often. However you want to look at it, like, it just makes sense that the guys that are higher go someplace, so then you know that they're almost done. I mean, however you want to do it, like, you can just do whatever you feel like. I don't care, but if you're going for, you know, the most efficient possible is to not have to check them every 5 seconds. In my opinion, obviously. So I took them off of hold fire just to, you know, have some fun there. Let them fire a little bit, because I figured why not? Let them get a partial fire there and probably do some good damage. So we tell everybody to hold fire, except, well, there we go. Tell everybody to hold fire, and there we go. Get the captures. Go ahead and tell them to move down here. And I think I'm going to pause it pretty soon. Oh, I did pause it there, because that was the final bit of that. And now we come forward, and we got pretty much everybody wiped out. We're just slowly moving forward here. There's no reason to be in a huge hurry. Just slowly moving forward, wiping them out. We got like a huge double circle going here. And what we're going to do this time is we are not going to kill them. We're not even going to go for a single capture on today over here. So the majority of the units that shatter are the units that are sitting right there, right now. We routed off most of our supply wagons. The one is almost off. You can see down there on the minimap. It's getting close. So we want to run it all the way down to time. We're looking to just wipe them out. Wipe out all but 1 or 2 units. And we don't really mind capturing the supply wagons tomorrow. Like, it's not that they're going to shoot any tomorrow, so we can easily just capture them tomorrow. Look, that's at like triple shatter right there. So I go ahead and turn off my artillery, because I'm like, let's go ahead and turn off the artillery, just because, you know, no reason to have it wasting all its ammo. And we just fire a couple more shots with the snipers, pull back the snipers. No reason to have them out there. And the problem with stopping the artillery is that they can finally go ahead and get up the nerve to attack me. And there goes our supply wagon. So now we have emptied all 3 supply wagons. So they finally get up the nerve here. And I'm like, ugh, come on. So I move up some more guys so we can go ahead and get some more shots on them from different directions, multiple people. We don't want to take any more damage than we have to, especially not on that unit. That unit has already taken shots unnecessarily for like hours. Not literally, but awfully darn close. We really messed up with that unit already. So let's not mess up here. And instead, we just take more shots. My general was sitting right over there. Just move him over there. Give him a little bit more cover. So we've only got 4 minutes left. And I'm like, hey, well, I mean, we can go ahead and just charge in here. Capture Miller, maybe. Maybe the supply wagon. Really shouldn't have even bothered. But it did make Price act kind of stupid, so I guess there's that. Made him back off from the front lines for some reason. I don't know why it did, but it did. So we're waiting for it to load. We're going to go to camp, and we are going to put men in positions here. Oh, wow, that's annoying. So what I realized is that I should take guys that are almost the next level and put them in places, because maybe they'll get the experience instead. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. So we're just kind of looking over everybody. We're like, that guy took a little bit too much. That guy took a little too much. Most of these guys didn't take very much, so it's mostly okay. It's not too disappointing yet. So I'll go ahead and go back and save, just in case. I'm gonna be really mad if no, actually, I was looking forward to the bug where everybody comes back on day 2. The reason why I actually wanted the bug in this case is because it only works on units that you have not captured. And you remember how many units I haven't captured? As far as I can tell, the times I've done it, any unit that I've captured, I don't see the next day. But if I hadn't captured a unit, then it will come back with like 3/4 of the men. Or something like that. Some number. I don't know why. Doesn't really make sense. It's almost like the number of men that shattered is how many men they don't get. And how many men they had without shattering. So if they had 2,000 men and they shattered at 500, they would get 1,500 men. That's kind of the number that it seemed like they had. The times that I've seen it. So I'm like, come on. I want to see more units. Nope. Just that unit. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. And this whole thing where whenever you draw a line, they don't go straight. They go catty-cornered and stuff. Come on, man. It's not that difficult. And then I see that unit. I'm like, ooh, fun. Let's keep out of range of that guy. And go march over here and capture him. Because we can. And I want captures if I can. Why not? I like captures. So we go ahead and move another unit in behind just so that we don't get charged down from behind. Go ahead and move infantry units in different directions to cover. Well, I didn't need to move that one across the river the far way because, I mean, we've got units coming from that direction. But we just barely don't get in range of that unit over there. We got lucky there. But we are now moving in on Price. We should be able to pretty easily get the capture here. As long as he doesn't shatter. So I kind of want to turn everybody to not firing. So that we both don't fire at ourselves. And so that we can actually get the capture instead of not getting a capture. And now we're going to run down to the supply wagon as well. Tell everybody not to fire at the supply wagon. because we don't want to wipe it out. And something weird happens here. We actually get ammo on all our snipers whenever all our snipers were out of ammo. So I'm a little confused about how that works out, but it's whatever, I guess. So we just kind of move everybody forward. And I think, do I just skip time at some point? I'm going to skip time at some point. I've got to, because this is 2 hours and 15 minutes of basically. Once we get this guy to route once, I think we just do that. Okay, then we get him to route, and then I'm like, okay, look, he's just routing. He's just running back and forth. Then we come back with 20 minutes to go, and we've got the opportunity of a lifetime. Charge. Well, let's do it. Everybody, go for it. And I go ahead and hit him with a sniper just once, just to try to keep him from having full volleys. Which,
well, hello and welcome back. I went ahead and got the pertinent information into my spreadsheet so that you'll be able to see that. And so we have our final results. 3,912 losses of infantry and only 115 cavalry and 7 guns. So that brings our total loss to 4,034 men. That's record shattering for me. Obviously, we achieved our goals. We also stayed late. We can click over here on Union Infantry and see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units shattered. All the rest of them were killed. That one's got a high of 267. We could look through the Confederate and see 297. So the highest kills for an infantry unit was 297, 297, and then 272. And it goes down pretty steeply from there. Not too steeply, 267, and then after that it's pretty much, we had several of them that had 0 kills that got captured. So, and 1 kill and got captured, 1 kill, 3 kills, 14, 27. Yeah. The list kind of goes on. Of course, we had some units that didn't do very well. Let's see, what is our highest loss on an infantry unit, of course? 289. So right around their highest kills is our highest losses. Now, of course, this is a Harper's Ferry 8, which makes me a little mad. That is one of my 12 best units. Took some of the most losses. But then after that, look, the next Harper's Ferry is quite a bit lower. A third less casualties almost. And that's the only one there, and then one there that's a lower quality Harper's Ferry. And then most of the Harper's Ferries fall in the category of not getting very many kills, not killing very many. They were mostly there as cleanup over the north. Of course, some of them did get in there and get some pretty good kills. We can see who all got the best kills out of everyone. Let's see here. We've got 2 of the snipers are up there, but 3 of the snipers are up there, and after that starts falling off. We got our 2 20-pound parrots. They are doing absolute marvelous work. And then mostly after that, it's just some of the infields that were probably in good spots. Like, I think probably one of these guys was in the fortification, not fortification, but in the center, holding the center there, and that really pays off in the long run. I think they had about 200 losses, so that makes sense, somewhere around in there. And then after that, it falls off pretty steeply, but of course, for the most part, we did pretty good. Like, a lot of our melee cav didn't get a chance to really shine in there, but one of them did okay. He was able to take out an entire, like 2 entire artillery units basically by himself, And if we'd done a little bit better with him, if we'd had the 2, we were supposed to have 2, and I misplayed. I didn't put my units in the right places, so I didn't get both of them in there. So overall, great work there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 on Jerome Lewis. 16 on Lonnie Hare. 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 promotions. Not bad. It really feels like the number of guns you get has a really steep drop off at the end there. Because, yeah, 10k, I get like 9.6k, I think, with like 12,000 captures. And with 26,000 captures, I get 10k. So I think that he might not have put a cap on it, but he put a pretty hard line that you don't get much above a certain amount after a certain point. We did lose more of our snipers than I would have liked, but overall it was a good battle. We got some Remingtons, 12-pounder Parrots, one 24-pound howitzer, some Sharps, but mostly we did get some supplies, but we did at least, I think, 1 or 2 supplies I basically ran out on purpose. So I think it was just 1 supply I think I ran out on purpose, but I guess it doesn't even show up here since it was empty, which is fine. Most of them we captured pretty full though. Okay, let's move on to the last part here. Looking at our army going forward. So we got an extra 1,000 men there. So with medicine, we only lost about 3,227 men. All because of just having a few extra men really makes a big difference. Yeah, 21 weapons is all we got back. We lost more snipers than I would have liked. We almost, look at that, 89, 92, 93. So we are really close on these 3 guys, getting them. This guy's a little bit further back, but that's okay. We were looking to get at least 1 more 3-star general, and it looks like we're going to get 3 pretty quick here. Of course, our 20-pound Parrots did excellent work there and got a 3rd star, which is pretty cool. So now we have the ability to make, like, I think 7, probably 7 or 8 3-star units, because we could take these guys and water them down a little bit along with this guy here. This guy's pretty much 3-star as well. So between all that, we'll have plenty. We got 131 of them, so we'll be able to take them up. We're getting close to like 275 maybe. That's where we can take them. Maybe even one of them to 300. So that's looking pretty good. We will be getting this guy back up to 300 as well. Of course, if we try to use non-bats, it falls pretty fast, but we'll be using one of our better units, probably one of our best units. Just throw that in there. Oh my goodness. Here's a first. I've never had a 3-star infantry unit. We have our first 3-star infantry unit, and a lot of these units are getting close. Of course, it's just because it's got a major general in charge of it. But yeah, if we put just a regular general, it probably won't be. Yeah, it's 92. So a lot of these are probably sitting right there on the edge.
Yes, sir.
This guy's not quite as close. Most of those guys aren't quite as close. I guess this guy sat there, and I think this is the one that was sitting in the forest and got to fire like the entire match. Just sat there and fired. Even though it was completely out of ammo, even though the unit that it was firing at just sat there the whole time and let it fire at it, it allowed it to get very few kills, but it got a ton of firearms, which is hilarious. Yeah, that's 77 firearms, blows my firearms out of the water. So we'll be looking to get this guy do something with this guy. We could use him to dilute out our snipers, and with the snipers added in there, we might get almost 3,000 3-star material units. That would be pretty ballin' right there. Yeah, that's pretty exciting to get my first 3-star. Okay, let's switch over to this one, I think. Let's see, does that work? Does that one work? There, that one. Okay. So this is the fight that we just watched. 22 kill to death ratio with medicine. I think that's right. 17, well, 8, almost 18 to 1 without medicine. I lost about not quite 4%. They lost about 94%. That is one of the highest totals that we have so far. So looking great there. So 3% with medicine is all I lost. That is really good. So 3,227. We brought 108,000. They only brought 96,850. That is a tiny force they're bringing to try to face off against me. But it is about the same as what I faced last time. The difference is that instead of me having 75,000, I now have 108,000. Instead of losing 5,500 with medicine, I only lose 3,200. So that's an extra 2,000 men I just saved right there. That is amazing. 2,300 pretty much. Almost 2,400. Yeah. So that is looking really nice going forward. Remember that you compare this number to other people's numbers, because most people don't do their after med losses, and at least not in this spreadsheet. So we're looking at about half the losses of Pandacrout. Pretty close on this guy, but I think this is the one that is only a Major General campaign. About half the losses there, and about a quarter of Civ War 64's losses. And we faced, let's see here, Stones River. We faced a few less than Civ War 64, but quite a, 12,000 more than Pandacrout. 4,000 or 5,000 more than, 6,000 more than Palo Alto. And we brought a ton more men than any of these guys. Like, he only brought 40,000 men, and he lost 8.6 thousand. That's like, what, a quarter of his force he lost? It's close to a quarter of his force he lost. That is really painful. Whenever you're looking at that small of an army, losing a quarter of your army is pretty painful. And I lost 3%. He lost 25%. I lost 3%. That is a huge difference in loss numbers. Now, of course, he's still got raw recruits to back him up, but as far as having just sheer number of men, I have it covered. We got another 8,300 men after this battle. And next, we are going to be moving forward. We're probably going to play Rio Hill next. Let's go back to here. And let's see. They did not get any special men. Looks like they just got base numbers of men. Maybe their armory is now low enough. I was having problems with that first one. I went ahead and tried to play Rio Hill with the last save game, and I was facing snipers. And I was like, ouch, I want to replay Stones River just to try and get a thing where I don't have to face off against snipers if I don't have to. Now, of course, if I have to, it'll be fine. I'll make it work. But anytime we can get a little bit of an advantage, it's helpful to do so. We got 200,000 money and 83,000 men. Let's go look at this. Boom, boom, and boom. We got the double supply wagons on all three this time. So We are rolling in the dough. No lie there. That is a big boon to our playthrough, being able to bring in double supply wagons to all the major battles now. That will be a huge help, and even in the minor battles, knowing that I won't have to worry about money at all is certainly nice. So yeah, we will be getting everybody lumped together, get them all sorted out. We didn't have quite enough men here to throw into another unit. That was kind of sad. I wanted to throw out another of the really good units and throw in some more of the bad unit, but I just could not piece together enough men, and I really didn't want to break down my cavalry or dilute these out with this. I just didn't want to. So I didn't, and that is where it left me. I mean, I could have, I guess, mixed it in to one of the lower units. I don't know. I just didn't really feel like messing with it all that much. I mean, that one's 100 down, that one's 100 down. But for the most part, this corps probably took the brunt of it. A few of this corps, because these are the ones that held the line up front. But these were like the worst guys I had. So them taking all the damage was not such a bad thing. We will be able to buy the men coming up shortly. That'll be nice. We are looking into basically just buying infields, maybe the Harper's Ferries. We could go ahead and start buying CS Richmonds for the melee value. That could be a thing, because they have really good melee value for the power that they have. One of the better melee guns in the game for high level guns. So we might want to pick them up. Overall, everything is looking really good here, and I am looking forward to seeing you guys in the next one. You guys have a good one. War Bob is signing off after a tremendous battle. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you to Something Compass, and thank you to Panda for all the changes he made. Thank you to Panda for, you know, having played this already, so I can just follow his lead. You guys have a good one, and I will see you guys in the next one.